Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to That's Football for another big game. It's Newcastle against Brighton and looking forward to this one. Got to say, looking forward to this one. Massive game for Newcastle, as we know. They're trying to get top four, but Brighton's going to be a really difficult game for them. Really difficult game. Superb in a lot of away games this season, none more so than Arsenal last week. So it's going to be huge and I just wonder how Newcastle are going to deal with this. We're very close to the start of the game, so look, I'm all for it. I don't, normally these games are kicking off at 8 o'clock. We're kicking off at 7:30 here, which big shout out to Robert McCormack for messaging me today and telling me that. We're sponsored by Manscaped, by the way, 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. The code is Goldbridge and the link's in the description, and you can scan that QR code. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but we're about to fly into this game, As you can see, it's Brighton against Newcastle. We will whack up the teams for you there, but I can run through them for you as well. We're literally straight into this, aren't we? So Newcastle looking like this. Pope in goal, Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Byrne, Joel Linton, Bruno Guimaraes, Willock, Almiron, Wilson and Isaac. Very strong Newcastle team. And then Brighton have got Steele, Grohl, Van Heck, Dunk, Estebanan, Caicedo, Gilmore, Bunati, Undav, Matoma and Welbeck. Ferguson's on the bench. McAllister's on the bench, which, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that's all about, really, because they played on Sunday. Maybe McAllister's got a bit of a knock. Ferguson's just coming back from an injury. But this is the whole beauty of Brighton, isn't it? You can take a player out, put another player in. They're going to have to do that in the summer anyway. But Newcastle, look, I think when you look at Newcastle and you look at that league table, the way it's going for Newcastle is this. Look, that's how it looks. They've got a great opportunity if they can win today. I was just on the Man United stand talking about Man United's game against Bournemouth on Saturday. If we win 2 of our last 3, Liverpool can't catch us. It's the same for Newcastle. If they win 2 of their last 3, Liverpool can't catch them. And they've got Leicester at home. So if they can win this, beat Leicester, they've got top 4. So cup final for Newcastle, and the home crowd's going to be a big factor. It wasn't a big factor at the Emirates, but it could be a big factor tonight. Hi Mark, do you think Inter have a chance of beating Man City? I think they can. They work really hard for each other. They are very similar to Inter 2010, says Sean. Well, I never say never, but I think if you're expecting Man City to lose to Inter, you're probably going to be wrong, because Man City will be massive favourites in that game. Newcastle going for a high tempo start here, but this is going to be so interesting. The Brighton lineup I've just gone through, but I will put it up on the screen for you as well. As you can see, I just wanted to talk about the league table. If Brighton were to win today, they can close up a little bit on Liverpool, but really they're playing for Europa spots, aren't they? They could still get caught by Tottenham and Villa. So Brighton's motivation is realistically, it's Europa League football, but they need to win as well. I think it's going to be a cracking game. I think this game's going to be better than Real Madrid Man City as a spectacle of two teams going up against each other. Epic, thank you very much for tuning in. Almiron, it's a good start to this game, and I think it will be a good tempo, because I think that Newcastle have got to give it as much as they can. There's the Brighton team for you on screen. We'll get that stats carousel just running around now, actually. There we go. Sorry, that wasn't long enough. Go back. There we go. Let me close that. And that. And then we'll go there. Okay. 7:30 kickoff. It's quite good. By the time this is over, I'll be up in my bedroom at 10 o'clock watching a episode of something I'm not going to tell you because you'll ruin it. But there we go. Early shot from the edge of the box. Matoma's a good player. Look, yeah, Brighton deserve European football this season. They do, Connor. They deserve it more than bloody Spurs, considering Spurs have got 3 points that should be Brighton's. I mean, imagine that. That's a 6-point swing. It's not a 3-point swing. Take 3 points off Spurs and give it to Brighton. It makes a massive amount of distance. And they were robbed. They were absolutely robbed. One thing I do want to talk about, we'll bring the conversations in. The time is wrong. One thing I do want to talk about is I heard the CEO of Man City today talking about, I don't know why people go on about money because other clubs have spent more than us in the last 10 years. I really don't get why Man City are so sensitive about this. Like, Man United fans want to be bought by Qatar. You're owned by Abu Dhabi. Newcastle are owned by Saudi Arabia. The days of being ridiculed because you've got oil money are over. So why do you get so sensitive about the fact that that's why you're successful? It doesn't really matter how much people have spent more than you. Your success is built on wealth. I don't want to remind you, and I'm not criticising you, but before 2008, your team was shit. It was really shit. And now it's the best team in the world. That's not because you got a good director of football or a new stadium. It's because you spent your money well. A lot of it. A hell of a lot of it. So, yeah, Man United have probably spent more than you in the last decade, but you've spent a lot of money and you've spent it well. So, I don't get what the argument is here. I was having a bit of a back and forth with Carragher today. Neville will have told him to stop doing it now. Jamie, stop speaking to Goldbridge on Twitter. I'm the boss of the overlap. Stop doing it. But it was a good conversation because he was basically saying that, yes, Man City have got a lot of money, but the reason they're playing great football and are so successful is because of Pep Guardiola, and that wouldn't have happened without him. I sort of disagree. And that's what I was saying. I was like, Man City's infrastructure and wealth is so good that I think if you gave that to Klopp and a couple of other managers in world football, they would be able to replicate it and fight for a treble. It'd be a different style of football, but I think Klopp at his best, I prefer his style of football to Pep's anyway. I've always said that. Pep's brilliant. He's amazing and he's obsessive and he's so technical. But I always preferred Klopp's football to Pep's anyway. So I think it could happen. I don't think Man City are potentially going to win a treble just because Pep Guardiola's doing it. And also, I don't think they're the best team playing the best football ever either. I think Man United did in '99. And I don't know how Carragher can comment on that because as a Scouser, you're telling me he sat and watched us play every bloody game in '99. I wouldn't watch Liverpool. People talk about Istanbul being the best comeback ever. I'm telling you now, it's not. Because I didn't bloody watch it. You know. A shot there from Isaac over the bar. Would you rather sit on the bench and earn more at United or play elsewhere like in Serie A and win trophies and play in the Champions League finals? I'd rather play football, mate. You know, my dream would be to play for Man United, but I'd rather play football. And I think that's something that I always respected people like Phil Neville and Nicky Butt for, because they hit a point in their career where they just wanted to go and play football and they left. And it's going to be very interesting this summer with United, isn't it? Is Harry Maguire going to do that? Is Scott McTominay going to do that? Like, you could go and play first team football elsewhere, or are you just going to stay and earn your money at Man United? Jake says it is the best comeback ever. But that's my point. I don't know whether it is because I've never watched it. I can't watch it. I didn't watch it at the time, and I haven't watched it since because it's Liverpool. So how can Jamie Carragher say that this treble side is better than United when I guaranteed he wasn't watching us? Because I wouldn't be able to watch it. I love this comment. United 99 is nowhere near this City side. Yeah, bullshit, mate. You're probably about 6. I watched it. I've watched both. And that United side was bloody brilliant and played some amazing football. I mean, you clearly didn't watch either game against Barcelona in the Champions League, did you? You clearly didn't watch most of those games. You clearly didn't watch the semi-final between Arsenal and Manchester United. I mean, that Arsenal side in '99 that challenged us all the way is better than this Arsenal side. So there's a comparison for you straight away that nobody's spoken about. You can compare Man City and Man United all you like, but the Arsenal side that pushed us is better than the Arsenal side that's pushed Man City 100%. That Arsenal side was unreal. But look, you can't do it anyway because 1999 is 24 years ago. There's too many different permutations. Football was different. You could have more subs. You played less game. It's not even worth doing. Pick your side, up to you. But the funny thing is, Man City haven't won a treble yet either. So why are people doing it? So Man United are better because we're the ones who've won a treble. Man City haven't done it yet. So it's a pointless argument, isn't it? I don't even know why people are having it. How's the game going? 7 minutes in. Good tempo to it. Newcastle are actually playing well. I think some people thought Brighton were just going to come here and win. But it's so important to Newcastle. So important to them. It's a cup final. If they win this, I think they'll beat Leicester and they get top 4. It's a bit like Man United against Bournemouth. If we beat Bournemouth, I think we've got top 4. If Newcastle win this, I think they'll get top 4. And I think Liverpool know that themselves. Oh, Bruno Guimaraes has caught somebody here. Yeah, it's a good game. Newcastle are all over Brighton at the moment, says Fennick. Well, Newcastle do tend to start like this. And I think a few people might have misjudged Newcastle, myself included, because Brighton was so good at the Emirates. I was like, I reckon they'll get something here. But then you forget just how good Newcastle are at home. Stepford wants Newcastle to win because if Brighton lose, it will give advantage to Spurs. I can't even get my head around that. You've just described the same thing. We need Newcastle to win because if Brighton lose, it gives advantage to Spurs. I can't get my head around that. Buster says, remember Brighton can flip-flop. Let's not forget the Everton game. Exactly. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner to do it. I think we're completely wrong on subscribers, by the way. Let me just have a double check. Newcastle are attacking well here. Oh, cut back. Willock hits it wide. Newcastle are the better side at the moment. We're 200 subscribers away from 957,000. So let's see if we can hit it tonight. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Thursday night football, 7:30 kickoff. I'm liking it. I'm telling you what, I'm liking it. Where's everybody going on tour this year, by the way? I'm going to be a bit nosy because we're not all Man United fans. So I'll tell you about Man United. Manchester United are going on tour to America or the USA. We're playing Arsenal, Dortmund, Madrid, Wrexham. I think we're playing 4 games there. We're playing Lyon in Edinburgh. Playing quite a few games. Chelsea going to America, says Hazy. Celtic are going to Japan, apparently, says Mark. Brighton are going to the USA, says Phoenix. Spurs are going to Korea, says Nicholas Walker. Liverpool are going to Asia, says Eamon Kelly. Man City are going to Japan as well, says Patterson. So, yeah, quite a lot of people going to Asia then. Liverpool, Man City. Newcastle and Brighton are going to the USA too. Spurs are off to Australia. So are Liverpool and Man City playing each other out there? Barcelona are going to the USA. Real Madrid are going to the USA. Imagine your team being in a relegation and just 18 months later battling for top 4. Their fans must be loving it, says Eddie. Well, I do the Talk Sport show, Mark Goldbridge, if you listen to it on a Saturday night. And we've had quite a few Newcastle fans calling in. And they just continually say, we're just loving it. We're just enjoying the ride. And I suppose that's what it's like, isn't it? That will change. That will change over the next few years because with success becomes expectation. But at the moment, like you say, just over a year ago, they were in a relegation battle and now they're fighting for Champions League football. So they're quite right to be loving it at the moment. But, as I say, expectations will go up with success. And it's a huge success for Newcastle if they can get top 4. Let me publish that. Change that. Okay. There we go. Thanks for the super chats, by the way. You can do that through the $sign. What is this Newcastle team? It reminds me of Man City earlier on when they got taken over by Abu Dhabi. You can kind of see the same way they play. Says treble champ. And, yeah. Well, look, it's a bit controversial, but I did say this, and I'd love to get people's opinions on this because it's 0-0 here, and they're sort of equaling each other out at the moment. Although I think Newcastle still have more momentum. Brighton haven't got going yet, says Jay. I said this a few weeks ago, and I think I said it on the Football Filling with Ben Foster. I said that in 3 years' time, Eddie Howe probably won't be there. Dan Burn won't be there. Willock won't be playing. A lot of these players will not be playing for Newcastle in 3 years' time because Man City's the blueprint and they're following it. So they will just gradually... I mean, they're linked to Neymar. So anybody who thinks that they're not going to change things, it's a cycle. It's what you do. You just have to follow the blueprint. You just have to follow the blueprint, and that blueprint is Man City. So you start off with a certain type of player, the James Milners and people like that, and then you move towards the De Bruyners, and that's what Newcastle will do. Here they are. Nice layoff. Almiron over the bar. So how quickly do you think Newcastle will change things, or do you think it will be Eddie Howe and the same players in 3 years' time? Mark, do you know how teams are sorted into the pots for the Champions League? Here in Arsenal would be in pot 3, but Man United would get into pot 2, says Nicholas. It's normally done on coefficiency and performance and stuff like that. I don't really care enough to know. Is the United stand coming to San Diego? Paid almost $200 for the Wrexham game without knowing that it's an under-21. Feels like I got scammed, says Min. They did extensively publicise that. We are literally playing a game very close to that. Tennis Talk with Cam. Thank you very much for the super chat there. And I presume you've got your own channel called Tennis Talk with Cam. I will just confirm that to you. But Man United are, well, they play Wrexham on the 26th of July. And then they're playing Real Madrid basically the next day. So it's a very quick turnaround. So Man United always scheduled that game as an under-21 game, so that people didn't buy tickets on the thought that you were going to see first teamers play. That might change, but I doubt it. Brighton just starting to get a bit of possession here. I mean, it's still... Brighton have actually had more possession than Newcastle, which is incredible. 51% to 49%, because it's been a lot of Newcastle. Mark, I can't believe Ten Hag hasn't been nominated in the Manager of the Year award. Yeah, it's disgraceful. I think Gary O'Neill missing out is bad as well. But obviously, I discussed that on the United Stand earlier. People might disagree more on here because it's not the United Stand. Bit of one-way traffic for Newcastle, says Freedom Journey. Well, both these teams are going to love to win it, aren't they? As I say, if Newcastle can win this, they've got Chelsea away and Leicester at home. Beat Leicester at home, you've got top 4, 72 points. If they lose this, Coventry City versus Man United next season, Mark, says Lithium. Whoa! Luke Steele's done really well there. I think that that cup final, that playoff final is really exciting, isn't it? You've got Luton Town against Coventry. I mean, I remember Coventry in the Premier League with Mickey Quinn scoring a hat-trick against Arsenal. Love the show, Mark. Love from Canada, says Ben. Luton have never been in the Premier League, but I remember Luton playing in the old Division 1 with a plastic pitch. AstroTurf. Mick Harford, Les Seeley, Ricky Hill, Kingsley Black. I'm trying to think who else used to play for them. Ashley Grimes, Ian Dowie. So, Luton's another Bournemouth, though. It'd be 2 very small grounds in the Premier League if Luton get promoted. I don't know. I think Luton are the favourites as well, aren't they? Capacity of Luton, Malcolm, I think it's about 11,500 again as well. S1 says, I'm very praised with the Newcastle press so far. Come on, Brighton, says Devils 58 Red. They don't look like they did against Arsenal. I'm sure there's plenty of Arsenal fans saying, why couldn't we play this Brighton? But give credit to Newcastle. Coventry's 40,000. It used to be called the Ricoh Arena. I don't know what it's called now. Brian Steen and Mark Steen. I remember them, yeah. I'm not exaggerating, but Bernardo Silva is better than any Premier League United midfielder ever, bar Scholes, says Grealish. But I disagree. Because Roy Keane was better, Brian Robson was better. I think David Beckham was better. Ryan Giggs was better. So I don't really like all that. I don't. You know what? I'm just going to say it. I don't really like all this. I mean, why Man City care about who's better, Man United 99 or them? You know, enjoy this. In 99, I don't remember going, this team's better than that team. This team's better than that team. I was just living in the moment going, oh my God, this is something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And I just enjoyed it. And I just blocked out the noise. I I don't like this modern whole, well, Saka's better than Rashford. Yeah, neither of them are going to win anything this year, are they? Not going to win the Premier League. Do you think Benzema, Modric, Kroos are finished? Also, thoughts on Rashford being nominated for Player of the Season, but Bruno wasn't, says Sam. I think we knew that was going to happen. I think Kroos and Modric are done at the top level when they're going to have to play against Man City. I think they're fine against certain teams, but they're not the same players. They can't mix it up against teams like Man City anymore. Benzema, it's hard to judge Benzema because the service was dreadful. I still think Benzema is a world-class striker, but time's running out for those players. You can't go on forever. Well, I think that Erling Haaland in that the way I look at it is when Harry Kane played against Newcastle, he got a lot of stick, but he didn't concede 6 goals and he didn't have much service. I think if you put Erling Haaland in that Real Madrid side last night and you put Benzema in the Man City side, I think you get the same outcome. So when people start going, oh, Benzema's finished and Haaland's the best, you might be true, but I don't think you can judge it on last night because you put Benzema in the City side and Haaland in the Real Madrid side and you get the same outcome. That was a team failure from Real Madrid and it was a team domination from Manchester City. Samalater saying Rashin was better than Buffon, says Jack. I think when you compare the past, you've got to remove technology, you've got to remove fitness because it's not Maradona's fault that he played in a time when you could do drugs and drink, and Messi didn't. So you've got to put Messi back then, or you've got to put Maradona now with all the fitness and conditioning that he would get now, because it's too easy to say Messi's better than Maradona because he is. Because his fitness is better by a long way, and recency bias always exists, always does. Everybody thinks they live in a better time than the past. Similar to say, I've done that one. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Members Club 7. Appreciate it. 7 vlogs. Thank you very much. We need a goal in this game. I agree. Newcastle are doing their best to get one. They have played well. Brighton are battling but just can't get any rhythm going at the moment, which is quite surprising for Brighton because they're normally a team that can, but they're not at the moment. Sean says, my heart wants Brighton to win, but my FPL wants Newcastle to win. A draw would be good for United, says, but yeah, but also good for Liverpool, wouldn't it? I'm sorry, I didn't give my score prediction. I think Brighton are going to win. I'd like to change that, but I'm being honest, Bridge. I did say before the game kicked off, I thought Newcastle were going to win. I could easily change it and cheat 20 minutes in, and maybe some of you would allow that. But I did say Newcastle before. There was a better pass, and there's a block there. There was a better pass to Almiron that Callum Wilson didn't see. He still played Joel Linton in, and Joel Linton did get the shot. But if you look at this again from Callum Wilson, look at the top of the screen. Almiron's the pass, and he's in one-on-one, and he goes for Joel Linton. That's a striker's pass, isn't it? He can't. De Bruyne finds Almiron there. Which is probably why Newcastle do need a number 10. The thing about Newcastle is, and obviously if we've got Newcastle fans or non-Newcastle fans, give us your thoughts. But for such a great season, goal! It's a goal for Newcastle. It's gone in off Casido. He's flicked it into his own net. It's 1-0 to Newcastle. It's a big goal. Their pressure has told in this first 22 minutes. They wanted that first goal. They needed that first goal. And they have that first goal. Fortuitous in a sense, but it's not been a great start by Brighton. And Newcastle have made them play with the pressure. I want to talk about who you think Newcastle should buy in the summer, what positions. But I think it goes in off Undav, actually, on the front post. Very unlucky. Yeah, he's flicked it in. They're looking at him. Yeah, he's made a mistake there. He shouldn't be heading that. He shouldn't be heading that. He's not under any pressure. Never, ever, ever. If you're on the front post and it's too high, don't flick it. Get your head up, mate. But yeah, I was just saying there, I think Newcastle, if they do get top four, and it is 1-0 here, if Newcastle do get top four, then the great thing about Newcastle is that there's so many potential places that they can improve on. I mean, they've been linked to Kieran Tierney. I think Dan Burn's done a very good job at left back, but that won't last. You know, you can't keep playing a 7-foot centre back at left back. So that's another area they can improve on massively with an attacking specialist left back. I don't think that they've got a real central creative player. Maybe they could go for James Maddison. That's two places that they can massively improve on next season. Yeah, not looking good for Liverpool if Newcastle win. If Newcastle win here, and hopefully Man United beat Bournemouth, all Liverpool's wins will be in vain. But long way to go here. Newcastle move up to 69 points. Remember, 72 points. Liverpool can't get there. How many teams have won the league and got relegated, says Gil? In the Premier League era, Leicester, Blackburn. That's it. Jack says in the same year. Imagine that. Yeah. No, the only two I can think of in the Premier League era that have won the Premier League and been relegated in the Premier League era would be Blackburn and Leicester. Because then the only other Premier League winners are Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United. So Blackburn and Leicester. Knowledge Bridge. Good question. John Kennedy says Newcastle. They've never won the Premier League, mate. The last trophy they won was some Tesco Cup in the 60s. Won't be long, though. Won't be long. I do think Newcastle will win the Premier League in the next decade. Maybe in the next 5, but certainly in the next decade. You know why I know? This is what I was trying to get at Carragher today. You don't even know the manager that's going to win the title for the Newcastle, but you know it's going to happen. Because with that wealth, you just keep getting the best. There'll be another Pep. You know, there'll be another director of football. There'll be another first 11 to this one, and they'll just keep buying it and buying it and buying it until they've got it. If you're old enough to remember what Man City were before Abu Dhabi, you know anybody can become Man City if you run well. And Man City fans get really moody about this, but actually I'm paying you a compliment. Like it the way you've done it just proves how it can be done. But you've got to do it that way, because money on itself, look at Chelsea this last year. Oh, Man City got relegated in 2001. Oh, there we go. Goldbridge is not knowledgeable. There are 3 clubs in Premier League history that have won the Premier League and been relegated. Manchester City, Leicester and Blackburn. Brighton have 6 own goals this season. Unlucky, says Zach. And hi Mark, we play a gegenpress, taking a few breaks from it throughout a match, which is why we don't play a 10. The 8s, right back and wingers need to create, says Sam. But I think it'd be useful to have one. Even if you want to keep playing like that, I think you've got to have a couple of ways of playing anyway. I'm a reversing lorry. I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure. Right, there we go. Take and pause. Our match sponsor today is one of my favourite sponsors. It's up there with all sponsors, but it's a cracking sponsor. It's Manscaped. I couldn't find mine, but I can now. Manscaped, what is it? Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Fantastic results, big results down there. It's basically precision engineering for your family jewels. It's got a light on it for a more precise shave. It's got a 4,000 RPM engine. Listen to it purr. Ooh. And also electromagnetic induction charging. You just drop it in the port that comes with it and away you go. Lovely familiar grip for some people, and you just crack on down there. You can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping when you use the code Goldbridge, which is Footy, which is on the screen there. You can scan that QR code, and I think it takes the 20% off for you. If it doesn't, just use the code Footy, or you can go through the link in the description. Manscaped 4.0, it's an absolute beauty, and it really makes a big difference. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Big shout out to Manscaped. They also do the weed whacker if you're a little bit around my age group. Oh God, love it. The engine on that just trims it like a strimmer. Oh my God, I haven't done mine for a while. Oh, satisfying. Really good quality products with Manscaped. Check it out. And Almiron. Good tackle. Good tackle. That was good. They're on the edge here. Yeah, 20% off, free worldwide shipping with the code Footy. So you get your 20% off and you don't pay for your delivery either. 3 players who have tied the most red cards in Premier League, who, says Charlie, are... there could be a penalty here. Well, that's a penalty. That's a penalty on Callum Wilson if they look at it. He didn't get the ball. I only saw it once. A lot of people saying dive. He dived. Never a penalty. I only saw it from that angle because I was too busy talking to you lot. But a lot of people saying it was a dive. I will listen to you. I will listen to you. It should be booked then. Bruno Gomes has been booked. You're saying it's the first foul. On Matoma. Not a penalty, he didn't touch him. So, book him then. We just got the... Remember when they did that about... I can't stand this in any phase of life. When somebody says, let's do this, and they do it for a little bit, and then they just ignore it and don't do it anymore. It's exactly what happened with diving. They said this rule, didn't they? There was a problem with diving. It was always on Match of the Day and that. So the Referees Association said, right, we're going to book people for diving. And they did it for a little bit. And now they just don't do it. And yet the rule is you can be booked for diving. So VAR has looked at that penalty and gone, no, it's not a penalty, he dives. Okay, let's play on. Book him! Surely VAR makes it easier to book people. They used to book people without VAR, which I found incredible. How do you know he's dived? And they'd be booked. And you'd look at it and go, it was a bloody penalty. But now you can actually look at it and go, they did dive. They don't book them. Any tips for building a successful YouTube channel, says 7 Vlogs. What's it about? Tell me what it's about. Mark, you missed my super chat, says Sale. Okay, sorry. They do sometimes slip through. Especially the blue ones. Because they don't come up on the top. I apologise. Which club do you think Potter goes to next? I think he dodged the bullet going to Leicester. I thought Leicester would have been a good club for him, actually. Keep him in the Premier League and start again. But I think he's earned so much money at Chelsea, he probably thinks I'll wait a bit. This just shows you patience, doesn't it? Almiron spins his man down the right-hand side. Space to run into. Got an overlap with Trippier. Gives it to Trippier. Cross comes in. Lovely cross from Trippier. No one there to tap it in. Isaac runs after it and gets it back on the left-hand side into Dan Burn. 32 minutes gone here. Newcastle have been the better side. There ain't no doubt about it. Bruno Gomes wants a free kick on the edge of the box. Not given. I think the ref was thinking about it. Brighton have been terrible here. Tell me in the chat if we've got any Brighton fans or anybody who actually was listening before, because I was on the United stand. Why is he not playing Alexis McAllister? Why has he made so many changes? Does he not want to win this game? Nobody really cares, but which teams are advances to the finals of the Europa League and the Conference League, says Hey. Oh, I forgot that's tonight. We'll keep an eye on those. And Mark, my dad caught my mum using his Manscaped trimmer. Little does he know I've been using it too. Do you share your Manscaped too? Just sounds disgusting. That sounds disgusting. Well, Newcastle pushing for the second goal here. Brighton had been very disappointing, and I suppose this is why Brighton lost to Everton, because they're capable of these types of performances. It's been one-way traffic, and Brighton have been terrible thus far. Leverkusen and Roma are playing in Germany. Roma are 1-0 up. Sevilla and Juventus are playing in Spain, and it's 1-1 in that one. I mean, that could be an all-Italian final, or it could not have an Italian club in it at all. Dan Burns just shot wide. West Ham should be getting through. 2-1 up against AZ Alkmaar in the Conference League. I didn't even know who was in the other semi-final. It's Basel against Fiorentina. And in the most irrelevant playoff semi-final in the world, Sheffield Wednesday are at home to Peterborough, having lost the first leg 4-0. Why bother? They probably jinxed it now. They'll probably come back. Another corner for Newcastle here. They're all over them. Don't be a hypocrite. Daniel says, you started the chart show at United and abandoned it. I love that show. I haven't abandoned it. I told you why I stopped doing it, because Man United were playing a game every 3.5 days. I couldn't fit it into the schedule. We'll definitely do it for the end of the season, and next season, hopefully, we'll be in the Champions League, which just gives you that little bit more gap, playing Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday or Sunday. But the whole Thursday, Sunday thing is a bloody nightmare. Weird to think that Nottingham Forest have more European Cups than Man City, the same amount as Chelsea, and one less than Man United, says Jack. More than Arsenal, more than Spurs. Aston Villa have got more European Cups than Spurs and Arsenal. Man City were always going to win the Champions League at some point. I'm surprised it took them this long. As soon as they got Pep, I mean, how many years has Pep been at Man City? I really would have thought he would have won a couple by now. Inevitable. Eric Ten Hag, not on the short list, is 100% correct, says N. Well, it's not, because he's won more games than everybody else on that list, other than Pep and Arteta. He's played more games than everybody on that list. And he took over a Man United side that was the worst in Premier League history and has us in the top 4. So I think contextually, that's even without talking about getting to 2 domestic finals, which I know don't count but have to count, because it's far easier to do what Emery's done when Villa are playing 1 game a week. Just watched Simon Jordan interview John Barnes, really enjoyed it, and Barnsley came out on top in the word count, says Kenneth. That is impressive. Kevin says, was the goal an own goal? Yes, it was Undav, Kevin. Brighton just haven't got going yet. And I don't know whether that's just because Brighton are having an off day, or it's because Newcastle have just played very well like they do at home. But Newcastle, this is a cup final to Newcastle. It's a cup final to their fans. They know if they were to lose tonight, they'd have to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and Leicester at home. If they win tonight, breathing space, batter Leicester, it's a party. Who would you keep or sell in the United squad, says Kieran? Oh, it's too many. Too many. I'd sell Henderson, Maguire, Brandon Williams, Scott McTominay, Fred. That's 5 I'd get rid of straight away, as well as the obvious peripheral characters like Phil Jones, Twan Sebi. That would be it. Those players, really. Weghorst wouldn't get a deal. Sabitzer wouldn't get a deal. This referee is a bit of a home banker. Andre says, I saw you put Carragher to bed. No, fair play to him. He actually, I thought it was quite an interesting back and forth on Twitter, but Gary will have sent him a DM saying, stop it! Don't do it! We don't talk to Goldbridge. I don't think he's replied to me anyway. Let's have a look. Carragher. Think about that Man United side. I didn't watch it. I think when I look at that Manchester United side, Pep Guardiola's side's better than the 1999 side. But I've got to be honest, I never watched it anyway. Because I'm a Scouser, so I wouldn't watch Man United. But that 1999 side, that's not as good as Pep's. I can't do Scouts. Everything I need and more. What's better? The 1999 side or Pep's? I don't know what that was all about today. I don't know whether anybody saw it. I saw Gary Neville was trending today and I was like, oh God, what's he done? And apparently just at 5:30 this morning, had a back and forth with a junior producer at Sky. And I was just like, I didn't really get the context of why it was bad. I was just like, what's that all about? They do, don't. The 19. Here we go. Oh, Steele gets on it. 5 minutes to half time. Passing out from the back. You can get in trouble. Never mind Eric Ten Hag. Where is Gary O'Neill, says Paul. I agree. Mark, although you're a passionate Man United fan, but you have proper comprehension of other teams, I am Bobby, a film editor from India. Thank you very much, Bobby. Hope you're doing well. And Alex has done a super chat. He says, would you still class Spurs as a top 6 club with Newcastle now breaking into the Champions League places this season? Alex, you've got to put context to this because I think some Spurs fans think I don't like them. And there's been times I've wanted Spurs to win the league. I think they're very inoffensive because they never win anything. I think the sad thing about Spurs is that your football is so bad that a lot of people have just been turned off by you because you're very boring to watch. But I said this somewhere. I said Newcastle have now kicked Spurs out of the traditional top 6. And a lot of Spurs fans, some would say quite rightly, have said we've not been kicked out of the traditional top 6 when we finished in the top 6 numerous times over the last 7 years. But I will be proved right. You will be out of the top 6 as things stand. Under your current ownership, you are Beyonce FC. That's what your business model is. Spurs cannot compete with Arsenal, clearly. They certainly can't compete with Man City and Chelsea because they don't have the money. Newcastle as well. That leaves Man United and Liverpool. Spurs can't compete with Liverpool. And Man United potentially could be sorting themselves out as well. So I think Spurs are out of the top 6 now. The traditional top 6, obviously, it's the traditional top 6. But I think you can already say that Newcastle ain't going to leave. They're not a flash in the pan. It's not like when Leicester won the Premier League. People said, have Leicester forced themselves into the traditional top 6? And everyone was sort of like, let's see what happens over the next 2 years. Because it wasn't sustainable. But with Newcastle, it's the sustainability threat. It's not like next year they're going to go to mid-table, is it? Good play by Brighton. Right-hand side. He needs a pass. He's gone wide. Matoma, I think, was offside. He says play on and it goes for a throw-in. Don't disrespect Fred, says Gav. We're talking about greatest team ever assembled, says Jack. And never mind Gary O'Neill. What about Frank Lampard, says Dustin the Turkey. And it seems City treble is on, says Zane. Did you see Gundogan could be going to Arsenal? He won't be going to Arsenal. You having a laugh? Eric Ten Hag is that guy who always finishes last, says Sally. Yeah, you're right. Already won the trophy in the final of another trophy. Yeah, he always finishes last. Just won the title in Ajax. Yeah, he's always finishing last, isn't he? Whoop says, Mark, what do you think about Liverpool letting Firmino, Keita, Milner and Oxlade-Chamberlain go? And where are they going? Well, I think it's good. I think if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd take that as a positive because it probably lends to the fact that you're going to bring 4 or 5 in. And that club, look, I don't know what Liverpool are going to be, but I said it a few months ago. If Klopp's going to stay, he's got to look at Sir Alex and he's got to go, I've got to do what Sir Alex did. I've got to rebuild another team because this team's coming to an end. You know, that Liverpool team under Klopp did very well, but, you know, you've got to rebuild it now. Lovely ball. It's offside. Did you know what frustrates me the most with Brighton? They play hard against Arsenal, Liverpool and United, but completely roll over for everyone else, says Slow Sports News. Brighton have been poor today. In which football stadiums have you been to, says Luep. I'm not going to start listing them off because I've never been anywhere. I only leave my bedroom, according to haters on Twitter. No, I mean, look, my favourite place is Goodison Park. Obviously, as an away ground. I class Old Trafford as a home ground, even though I don't live in Manchester. I've been to the old Wembley. Here's an interesting fact. I've been to the old Wembley more than I've been to the new Wembley. I don't really like the new Wembley, if I'm being honest. I liked the old Wembley, even though it was run down. There was just something about it. Never been to Anfield. Don't think I've ever been to Anfield. Never been to Newcastle, actually. I've never been to Newcastle, so I've definitely never been to Newcastle. I have been to Liverpool. Highbury, I used to like Highbury. Emirates is okay, but I preferred Highbury. Not been to the new Spurs ground, but went to White Hart Lane. London grounds I've been. Stamford Bridge. Fulham. I like QPR. I like Loftus Road. But, you can tell with me, I prefer the older stadiums. It's nostalgia, isn't it? I've not been to Selhurst Park, no. I've been to the Etihad, yeah. I have been to the Etihad. Etihad and the Emirates, they're all a bit the same to me. They're just modern stadia. Not been to St Mary's. Or the Dell. Maths exam is tomorrow, but still had to watch you live, says Jimmy. Good luck. Today was history. Literally, and in your GCSE exams. Today was history. And it was also history GCSEs. Are you going to go to Murrayfield Stadium on July the 19th for United against Leon before they head off to the States? I don't know, Jack. I don't know. We will be there, United stand. I just don't know what games I'm doing at the moment. I've got to admit, I want to go to New York. And I may move across to the East Coast, West Coast. But I also do love the watchalongs on the American tour at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It takes me back to the early days of United Stand, getting up at that time. I loved it. I've never been to South Africa. We're about to hit half time here. The Hyper had his criminology A-level today. I tell you what, I would love to have done criminology as an A-level at school. Do you get to watch things like what's it called? What's that detective series called? You know the one. Everyone used to like it on the BBC, and it had a crap final series. Jed Mercurio wrote it. Not CSI. Would you want a new Old Trafford? No, I want a revamp, Dan. No, Mindhunter's very good. Not true crime. No. How can you keep getting it wrong? Line of Duty, that was it. Line of Duty. Have you ever been to the Ivory Coast? I've never been to Africa. I've not even been to like Morocco or Egypt. Teen Wolf is not a detective series. Hot Fuzz, good film. I'm going to start doing them film watch-alongs on Twitch again soon. Dun 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 dun, Inspector. Hey, we've not had some good questions tonight. I don't think we've had anything that's really clippable. Come on, you're all a bit lethargic. End of the week. Would you rather have Eric Ten Hag or Neville sat on your nose? Oh, you're an idiot, mate. I actually thought you were going to come out with something good. Would you rather have an interview with Ten Hag or Gary Neville? Well, you're talking about my childhood hero, and a great manager. I think right now, because Gary's probably in a mood with me, I'll go with Erik ten Hag. There's a Brighton player gone down here and he's given a yellow card. Oh, I think that's a red. I think that's a red. He hits him twice. Pushes him in the face. I think that could be a red. Bit soft. I'm at uni in Exeter, mate. Ever been down to Devon? I was there last summer, Zachary. I was at Westwood Ho. Loved it. Given a yellow. Should that have been a red? I tell you what, if it's Casemiro, it's a red. And Newcastle have scored from the free kick to make it 2-0. It's Dan Burn. And that will feel like an absolute huge goal for Newcastle. Almiron's going mad. This is Champions League football for Newcastle. If they win this game, they've just got to beat Leicester and they cannot be caught. That's a dagger through the heart of Liverpool's top four hopes. Dan Burn, enjoy it while you can. You won't be there in 2 years. But you can always say you were the start of the journey. You scored a goal that helped Newcastle to the Champions League. He'll be playing for Preston in a couple of years. But he's part of the history of this club. Definitely onside. Big towering header. That's how you finish. Have you heard of Australian Football League, says Kin. Yeah, say it with me, Mark. If that was Casemiro to sleep. So I'm literally about to tweet it. Literally about to tweet it. I just want to run a poll, really. Should it have been a red? Yes or no? It gives him a little bit of a push. That I ain't got a problem with that. But then he follows it up and pushes out and catches him in the face. Is that enough to be a red card? Is that violent conduct enough to be a red card in the modern game? Referee gave a yellow, so he felt that there was some intention behind it. Should it be a red card? I think for some players it is. I mean, look, look, Newcastle fans, we're not here to go to war. I think it's great that you're winning, and I'd rather you got top four than Liverpool. I think it's fantastic. You deserve it. But I'm telling you now, Casemiro's had red cards for less than that. So... if we're going off the Casemiro red card where he grabbed someone's collar, that should be a red card. But I think they've changed the rules on that now. 54% are saying it should have been a red and 45% are saying it shouldn't. It was a yellow card. Liverpool can still catch Newcastle mathematically. They can't. They can't. They bloody well can't. Well, they can at the moment, but... right now, Newcastle have got 69 points. There it is, right? Liverpool, if they win their last two, 71. Unfortunately for Liverpool fans, Newcastle have got Chelsea away on the final day, but they've got Leicester at home at the weekend. Oh, I think it's Monday night. So Monday night football is 3 points for Newcastle. They ain't not going to beat Leicester, knowing that confirms. I mean, basically Newcastle know. Beat Brighton, beat Leicester, we're in the Champions League. So Liverpool's attention, it's not going to be a good Thursday night for Liverpool if it stays like this, because basically they're reliant on United bottling it now if Newcastle were to win. But you've got to give huge credit to Newcastle. I said before the game, Cameron says it's a disgrace how that is not a red card. It's a disgrace Erik ten Hag is not even nominated to Gavind. I'm not saying he should win it, but he got to be in the top six. I think huge credit to Newcastle because, and people are already starting with the oil money, huge credit to Newcastle because Brighton was so good against Manchester United, against Arsenal, and I really felt that Newcastle had a bit of a wobble against Leeds, and Brighton would come and dominate the possession like they did against Arsenal. But they've been really poor, and Newcastle have been up for it. So I don't know whether it's the fact that Brighton have been poor or Newcastle have just smothered them, but it's not how I thought the game was going to go. And they've been the better side. What I'm a little bit confused about is why De Zerbi has picked a weakened team. You know, no Alexi McAllister in there. I don't know whether he's got an injury. Undav's had a nightmare. Well, that's what I mean. Picking Undav, he ain't ready. He ain't looked like he's anywhere near the level. We can't let Liverpool get top 4 marks, says Mario. Well, it's not about being Man United at the moment, is it? It's about Newcastle. But, yeah, Brighton don't look anywhere near like they're going to come back into this team. It's really night and day compared to how they played against Arsenal on Sunday. But if Ferguson's on the bench, of course, but Enciso is class. I'm just having a look at their starting lineup for Brighton. It's a bit odd. It's a bit odd. He's got Enciso on the bench, McAllister on the bench, Ferguson on the bench, and Ferguson I can sort of understand it, but Enciso and McAllister, they should be playing in a game like this. They really should. I wonder if he's looking at it and going, we've got to play on Sunday as well. I mean, Brighton have got it difficult. They had Arsenal on Sunday. Sorry, they had Arsenal last Sunday. They have Newcastle today. They've got Southampton on Sunday, and then they've got Man City on Wednesday. So, maybe that's why he's rotating things. I had this chat with somebody. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. Do you believe that we'll run a poll on this, actually. Reminded me a little bit of Lamela Martial scuffle, says B. Yakov. So it's about 50-50. Should it have been a red card for Shah? 53% said yes and 46% said no. The Goldbridge take is this. In context of what Casemiro got a red card for, it should be a red card. Casemiro shouldn't have got a red card, so neither should Shah. But it's the inconsistency. I don't really think it's enough to be giving someone a red card, but the inconsistency is what has been the problem all season. Nathan Harper says, I love Erik ten Hag and he's doing a good job, but in my opinion, he shouldn't be nominated for the Premier League Manager of the season because he lost 7-0. I don't think that's really contextually important. I know it was disappointing, but I don't think that's a reason not to be nominated. Right, I want to just run this by you. Either or. Sub because of data or sub because of feeling. And what I mean by that is more and more managers are making substitutes from a laptop, and the laptop is telling you the player's physical state and saying they're in the red zone, take them off. We never used to have this. Do you think that's the right thing to do? Because that might be why McAllister's not playing. It might be why Enciso's not playing. They might have fitness people saying they're in the red zone, you shouldn't pick them. But I don't agree with that, because if I've got a player like Bruno Fernandes, who never comes off anyway, he's a bad example. But if I've got a player like Jadon Sancho, who's playing well, and then I get a tap on the shoulder, look at the laptop, 62 minutes, you need to take him off, but he's playing well, am I going to follow the data or am I going to follow the form? So I think we do see more and more of that in modern game. And I might be a complete dinosaur on it, but I think sometimes you just got to go with form. And I suppose it's just technology, isn't it? It's the way the game is changing. But for me, tonight, Enciso and McAllister should be playing. Screw the bloody laptop. Get on with it. Pick your best team. Teams should be able to challenge referee decisions similar to tennis or cricket, says Hanrahan. Mark, I've been in hospital. I broke my leg, says Gav. I don't know why I'm smiling. I wasn't really smiling. My mouth was sort of like going, I was doing a funny voice. I broke my leg. I just want to clarify I wasn't smiling. I hope you rest up well, mate. I hope it's not a bad break. There are numerous breaks in your leg. Femur, tibia. That might be your wrist. You don't want to break your wrist. Although, with the other hand, it can feel different. Who's getting relegated? I'm talking about writing. Yeah, filthy animals. I'm not talking about that. You should always mix that up anyway. You know, you're an idiot if you become one hand dependent when it comes to that. You know, it's in your interest to be able to use both. But yeah, teams should be... this is a true story, and it's topical, right? Gav's broke his leg. Mate of mine, Stevie, might be watching, just before our GCSEs, a lot of people doing their GCSEs at the moment, right? Playing football down the local park. We used to have this wall that everyone kicked the ball on, but it had a flat roof. He kicked the ball, it went on the roof, he climbed up on the roof to get his ball, threw it down, slipped, and landed on his wrist, broke his wrist. Right hand, he was right-handed. Right before the start of the GCSEs, he'd literally gone down the park just to get rid of a bit of, get a bit of fresh air, breaks his wrist, still has to do his exams. You know what they did? He had to write with his left hand, which he'd never done all his life. You know what they did? They said you can have an extra hour on every exams. I was like, I'm right-handed doing an English essay with my left hand, and you're giving me an extra hour? I need an extra bloody week, mate. I can't write with my left hand. Look, if I wrote... Oh, I can't even do it now. Imagine trying to write an essay. Oh, my God. I've tried to write Mark, and I've put mutt. It didn't even register the R. There were no computers in those days. Literally fell off, broke his wrist before the GCSEs. Had to do all his GCSEs, and they gave him an extra hour. What's your choice for the Matt Busby Awards? Mine's Martinez, says Ronnie. I don't know. I need to think about that. High is I'm both-handed. Ambidextrous, is that what you are? I'm both-footed at football. As you can see on my... Well, it's gone now. Did you see that goal on my Instagram on Monday? Top bins, left foot, and I'm right-footed. Would you rather be trapped in a romantic comedy with Gary Neville or trapped in a horror movie with Jamie Carragher? It's got to be the romantic comedy, Mario. Imagine that. All the scrapes. As long as we're not the romantic, we're sort of like mates, and there's a love interest that's a female. Are you live on Twitch tomorrow? I was meant to be live today, Lou. I will be live tomorrow. I was meant to be live today, but unfortunately, as you can imagine, sometimes something comes up. And we're not talking about what we were talking about before. I'm talking about meetings and stuff happen. And yeah, it's the summer, so there's a lot of things going on at the moment about next season and will you carry on doing this, and do you want to come and do this, and Jeff's leaving, will you come and do this? And I'm like, what's the price? And so there's a lot going on. Who I would never get offered a job at Sky. It's Gary, what are you doing? No, I'm Sky. I'm Mr. Sky. It's Gary Sky Neville. No, not happening. One of my relatives fell from a bike and broke her wrist. I tell you, I was thinking a lot worse there, Alan. I was thinking about lorries and all sorts. So I'm glad it was just a broken wrist. Horror movie with Carragher. Them lags aren't fast anymore, says Ben. And Mark, would you rather have Potter as England manager over Southgate? Jake, would a bear shit in the woods? Yes. Of course I would. I'm going to have a little bit of a stretch. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. I'm live in Dublin on June the 6th. You're more than welcome to get a ticket and join me if you want to get that. But when we hit 1 million subscribers, we're going to do a live show in London. And it's going to be general football related. So please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Get involved with That's Football. You're very welcome. Wan says, from my perspective, I think data is more like an additional insight to football, but those decisions are probably still made by the manager himself. They do follow it, Wan. I know a few people in the game. I've played the game, and more and more managers do follow the data now, which I think is... Look, if I said... I'm not going to name names, it's not fair, but there are certain managers out there that will know that they are going to take a player off regardless at a certain point, because they're following the data. Couldn't catch all the shows today. Have you spoken about the Maddison-Maguire swap deal? I think it was Maddison plus 10 million for Maguire. I haven't, L1, and apparently it's coming in from Fabrizio. It's a weird one. Where do you think Calvin Phillips ends up next season, says Joel? Sat on his arse at the Etihad, like he has done this season. Killen says there are some good strikers in the Championship. Would any of them fit into United? I don't think Man United are looking at anybody in the Championship, Killen. And have you ever seen the classic Steve Martin movie, Planes, Trains and Automobiles? I would play to see you and Neville in that remake. This is Stephen. I have seen it. I've not seen it for a few years. Mark, you should switch games in the League One playoff game. Sheffield Wednesday are winning 2-0 after being 4-0 after the first leg. I know, Charles, and I've done it again. And please don't clip me, because if Sheffield Wednesday end up winning, there was a point in the first half where I said it was the most irrelevant, pointless second leg of a playoff in the world because they're 4-0 down from the first leg. So if Sheffield Wednesday were to win, that is prime Pratt-Bridge. It's the sort of thing Sheffield Wednesday would probably use on their TikTok or something like that. So, yeah. I might just have jinxed Peterborough as well, but we'll see. They've got a long way to go. Any chance of you coming to do a show in South Africa, Mark? Says Bradley. I would love to. Newcastle play Leicester on Monday. Man City, Chelsea to win the league on Sunday. We'll do a watch along for that. Chelsea will get battered. They'll get battered. Beckham and Moyes used to play together. Moyes was at Preston North End from 93 to 99, while Beckham played the 94-95 season at Deepdale on loan. It's a Slow Sports News. Yeah, Moyes was also the manager of Wayne Rooney when he broke through. Like, McAllister's coming on now. It does make you wonder why they didn't play him in the first place. Do you think City can do the treble, says Dustin. What's the treble? And Pep doesn't like Calvin Phillips. He thinks he's overweight, says Joel Morris. That's weightist. Mark, mate, sort the table out. It's really hard to see. Get some glasses. I can see it. Anyway, let's have a look at the half-time stats bridge. So, possession-wise, Brighton actually had more. But Newcastle, 11 shots to 3, 3 shots on target to 1, 6 corners to 0. Brighton, I'm surprised Brighton had more possession and more passes, because I don't know what they did with it. They were dreadful as an attacking outfit, and they've got a mountain to climb to come back into this. I mean, Newcastle win this game, Leicester on Monday, you've got Champions League football. 2 cup finals, then they're halfway through this one. That's how it is. On the poll, let me just tell you that 68% of you would rather follow the feeling than follow the data in relation to subs. What we mean by that is that there are clubs now who really do follow the data and, you know, the red zones of players and say they need to come off regardless of how they're playing. When we, you know, I think Ten Hag mentioned it as well. Not saying Ten Hag does it, but he has referenced a few times, you've got to follow the data sometimes on what players can play. Just about to start. Let me get the timer ready. Willock. Go. There we go. LFC says, do you think VAR makes football better or worse? I like that. Better or worse? Do you ever used to get that at the doctors? Does that feel better or worse? Don't worry, my doctor's not been locked up for anything. It's like, you know, when you've sprained your ankle or something like that and they touch it and they move it a bit and they go, does that feel better or worse? I think football's... I don't think we... You know what? In relation to VAR, I don't think we've seen the... the full potential of VAR yet. I think VAR gets a lot of bad stick because of the people behind it. I think if VAR had competent, consistent people, it would be better. Here's Isaac into the box. Good block. My biggest frustration and the easiest... If I was Howard Webb, this is what I would do. And they won't do it because every single game is the same. You get a referee who, in the first 20 minutes, will give a foul for something, and then 10 minutes later, won't give a foul for it. And then you'll get a referee who'll give a yellow card just before half time about something, and then just after half time, he won't give a yellow card for an identical foul. Like, they literally are making it up as they go along. And if I was Howard Webb, I'd say, right, what I want you to do is, if you give a foul like that and you give a yellow card, you've got to keep doing it. If you give a foul for that, you can't not give it 10 minutes later because you don't feel like it, because it comes across as incompetent and inconsistent. You've all got to start having consistency. So I'd literally get them all together in a room and say, is this a foul? And if 8 of them say yes and 2 of them say no, I'd say, well, it is a foul. So you need to adapt your refereeing. I think consistency would make football officiating a lot better. And too many referees literally contradict themselves in 10 minutes. And also, there needs to be consistency on handballs. I really do think if it hits your hand there, it's a penalty. I don't even care anymore if it's bad luck. Oh, hey, it's just unlucky. Give a penalty, because it'll equal itself out. Just give a penalty for any handball that hits anyone from the sleeve down, and it will solve a lot of problems. The inconsistency is the problem. Offside has been sorted out. The only thing people moan about is, he's only off by an inch. He's still off. He's still off. I think that consistency from referees and handball would make football a lot better next season. But they won't do it. They allow these referees to... And the worst thing is when you get one referee in one game given a red card for something, and then another referee in another game with a worse tackle not even given a yellow. You can't have that at this level. Nice ball into Almiron. He's into the box. Good tackle. Brighton are still not in this. Matoma's been very quiet. Do Chelsea come back next season, says Kebab? Of course they do. They can't have a season as bad as this year. So there will be progression for Chelsea. Callum Wilson, bad first touch. Yeah, there'll be 100% progression for Chelsea. How much progression? I think top 4's got to be the aim. You can't beat a bit of cranberries. The Irish band and the juice. I like cranberry juice. I haven't had it for ages, but I do like cranberry juice. What formation do you want to see next season, says Guraf? I don't really care about that stuff. I've got to be honest. I don't really play Football Manager. Oh, here we go. Great save by Steele. And over onto the roof of the box. What a miss by Almiron. What a save by the keeper. That should have been 3-0. That should have been game over. Ryan says Brighton look awful. They really do. They really do. I mean, that's well onside by Almiron. And you'd expect him to score. It's a sitter. It's an absolute sitter. Keeper makes a good save, but you've got to score that. Why isn't Casido playing in the midfield? Good question, JJ. They're hanging on here, Brighton. Although, one on one, he's got to score. He has! It's 2-1! Oh my God, and it's Undav. Game on! Game on! Let's play darts. It's a cracking goal. It's a great ball by Gilmore, and Undav. Game on. What a ball by Gilmore. Is he on? Ooh. It's hard to say if he's onside. I thought he was on. Brilliant ball by Gilmore, but I don't know whether Undav's on or not. They're looking at VAR, possible offside. Definitely on, says Dylan. It's hard to tell. The angle's hard to tell. You never know. I can't tell. Yeah, he's miles on. He's actually miles on. Look, you just don't know, do you? He's miles on. He's miles on, I'm telling you. 2-1. And I tell you what, is that not the Premier League this season, apart from Man City? Almiron, absolute sitter to make it 3-0. Brighton go down the other end, 2-1. Here is Almiron. Good cross. Oh, Wilson. I'll tell you what, it's a cracking second half. It's a cracking second half. Newcastle could have been 3-0 up. It's 2-1. And Callum Wilson's just gone close as well. End to end. Good game, good game. I think the second half's going to be wide open now. Now, I think Almiron was offside there, but it won't matter because they didn't score. Newcastle will be getting a bit nervous now. Brighton passing out from the back. Play through the press very well. And away they go. And it's into Matoma. Interesting cross. Cleared away. Ocho says Newcastle will definitely win this. Well, I'm not saying that they won't, but I think we're in for a very interesting second half. A draw doesn't really suit Newcastle. But Brighton will go for it. We're only 50 subscribers away from 957,000, so please subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, there's a ball to Almiron, and they've ruined it again. Now it's into Wilson. Steele will get that. They've got to look at the run of Almiron. He's making some good runs here. One thing we know, there'll be goals. Oh, bloody hell. Isaac nearly slid into Steele then. So there's been a lot of tackles here. I don't know whether, I think the referee in a way has been quite good because he's let a lot go. You don't want to see a lot of yellow cards and stuff, but there has been it's been a tasty game thus far. Well, here we go. McAllister wasn't on the pitch, Enciso wasn't on the pitch, and Ferguson wasn't on the pitch. So it's a treble substitution coming in here. And they have managed to score without these subs, and they're now technically going to get a bit stronger. Brighton, McAllister, Enciso, and Ferguson all coming on. We're in for a very interesting last half an hour. And I'm here for it. Interesting to see if they take off. Right, here we go. Here come the subs. Don't forget, we're sponsored by Manscaped on the stream while these subs are happening. Deserbo's making a few changes, trimming the squad. You can trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Basically, this is for down there. Trims it down, makes it look better and neater. You can get 20% off with the code FOOTY and free worldwide shipping. Fantastic products with Manscaped. You will not regret it. Get it. Links in the chat. Welbeck's off. Gilmore's off. And I'm a bit surprised he's took Gilmore off. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised he's took Gilmour off. Maybe he was getting a bit tired. Do I use it? I do, yeah. I'll make no bones about it. I do use it, and it's. I'm proud, literally. What do you think about Matoma, says Seb? I like him. Scan the QR code to make the yard look bigger, says Zoltan. I wouldn't use it for your beard, no. It just feels a bit odd when you've shaved down there, because you have to hold bits to, that looks wrong, doesn't it? But you know what I mean. If you've ever done it, you know what I mean. Is Ferguson any good, says Eamon Kelly? I like him. Young player. I think he's only 18, isn't he? Sevilla are beating Juve at the moment. No, they're not. I've got the wrong date. I've got 0-0 between Sevilla and Juventus, and I've got 0-0 between Leverkusen and Roma. It's 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. They need another 2. Fiorentina are 1-0 up against Basel, and West Ham are 0-0 in Alkmaar, if that is a place. You owe me a phone. I smashed the like button, and now my phone screen is broken. Also, Qatar will be the new owners of Man United, says Nabil. How old is Gilmour, David? David says that Gilmour's going to be world class. Hey, you should see my TikTok. I got loads of stick on my TikTok, right? Because there's this little app where you can... You need to see it at Goldbridge Mark or Mark Goldbridge on TikTok. You get 5 skips in building an all-time 11, and it randomises these players. Stoichkov. I skipped on Stoichkov. I was alive when Stoichkov played. Most people who are moaning about it won't be alive when Stoichkov played. Very, very good player, but I wasn't a massive fan of him. I don't personally put Stoichkov ahead of people like Del Piero and everybody else that I put in there. So that's the wonder of football. There'll be more of those to come. Nice ball, here we go. Undav, he's got to go. The pass was right. What is it? God, if you're playing football this weekend, I've Goldbridge hot take, get your head up and look far right. The amount of teams that have missed the ball to the right tonight. Wide open space. LJ, I've seen your chat. Now, Willock, what's he done? Has he banged his thigh or has he pulled his hamstring? This could be a problem. This could be a problem for Newcastle. Do you think Ronaldo could play for Newcastle? I would advise Newcastle not to sign Cristiano Ronaldo. I love him. He's one of my favourite players ever. But if they signed Ronaldo, he'd want to play every single game, and you would not be as energetic as you are right now. Have you ever considered travelling to Australia? Says me. Yes, I have. Somebody said it's Isaac. Mate, it's definitely Willock. It looks like it is a hamstring, unfortunately for him. You know what? The emotions of football fans at this time of the year, whichever way you're going, you know what I mean. Liverpool fans at half time would be like, that's top 4, gone, because Man United are bound to beat Bournemouth. If you're a Liverpool fan now, you see those 3 Brighton subs, you see that Almiron miss, you see the Undav goal, you see Willock going off injured, and you think, you're telling me there's a chance again. If Gary Neville was an animal, he'd be a guinea pig, says Jimmy. Hi, Kai. And what do you want, Mark, as a United fan? I thought, doing Carragher again. That 1999 side. I think that for us, to be honest, I'm not massively bothered what the result is here because we'll get top four if we beat Bournemouth and Fulham and Chelsea. So we've got to do that. Technically, Newcastle losing is probably better for Man United, but I don't really feel I want that to happen. I just want the best team to win. But that Almiron miss is huge because it's 2-0 at that point. It should be 3-0 and it's game over. Up the other end, 2-1 straight away. Zoe says they should make VAR like cricket and tennis where each team has 2 reviews. Yeah, I mean, look, I'd never say that's not going to happen, Zoe, but on the other hand, you don't want to slow football down. Here's a question for you. Probably one of the best questions you're going to get asked today. What's your favourite night of the week? Now, I know sometimes a Monday can be amazing, but consistently, what is your favourite night of the week? What's the night where you feel yes? Jonas says Friday. How do you think PSG will replace Messi and Neymar? I haven't heard any major transfer plans. Says well, they're after Osman. Lots of people saying Friday, few people saying Saturday. I'm going to give the winner to Almaz. Thursday. I've always loved Thursday night. I used to go out on a Thursday night, student night, in my late teens. And then when I was working, I used to work in like an office environment. The weekend always started on Thursday. They call it the pre-kend, don't they? The pre-weekend, which is Thursday afternoon to Friday. And yeah, I just like Thursday. That anticipation that you've only got one day left. It's like Christmas Eve. I hate Europa League though. That's what put me off Thursday. Well, the time ticking down is not a bad thing for Newcastle. This City side is the best English side ever, says Mohammed. I disagree. It's not won anything yet, mate. Liverpool could be loving Thursday soon, says Fazy. Another good save from Steele. Newcastle are pushing for that third goal, which at this stage would probably do it. I mean, look, I've got to be honest. Brighton are in with a puncher's chance, as they call it in boxing, but Newcastle have been the better side. I agree with Savage. Brighton are hanging on here. Their keeper's had a good game. Newcastle have been the better side tonight. Like, they do deserve to win, but you don't always get what you deserve. Do you prefer mashed potatoes or French fries? Commonly, I'm not a fan of mashed potatoes. Sometimes they can be okay, but no, they are the worst of the potato variety. I'm not always a fan of jacket potatoes. For me, chips, roast potatoes, hash browns, things like that win. But mashed potato, no. Some people have mashed potato and roast potato on a Sunday roast. Some people have it on their Christmas dinner. I'm like, that's just filling me up. Get rid of it. Get it off my plate. If I go to someone's house for Christmas dinner and they put mashed potato on there, I say, get rid of it. I won't even say please, and I'm full of manners, but I will just say, what's this? Mashed potato, get it off. Yeah, get rid of that. It's really nice. I've put some butter through it and seasoned it. I don't care. I've already got roast potatoes, and I know I'm going to be full off pigs in blankets and everything else. Just I don't need more potato. Give it the dog. However, mashed potato with some onion gravy and sausages as a meal, I'm very happy with. "24 minutes to go." Sweet potato's nice. I like sweet potato. I'd say I prefer sweet potato, jacket potato to normal potato, jacket potato, to be honest. I've really have got into sweet potato. "Hi Mark, can you say get well soon to my son Sid? He had an emergency surgery last night. Everything went well, and he also loves all your channels. Um, use code OzTheBoz898 in the Fortnite item shop." I feel that there's something sinister there. Yeah, I hope you're not using emergency surgery of a child to promote an emergency code on Fortnite. That's pretty low. You know, that's lower than a worm's arse, that is. "Hi Mark, do you think Luke Shaw has a shout at United Player of the Season? Casemiro or Rashford will probably get it, but he's been really reliable." George, you know, low key, I think you're right. But I personally think Player of the Year for Man United has to be Casemiro or Bruno. Mark, do you like going to tropical islands, the CIA? Oh, headed just wide from Enciso. Newcastle need to be wary here. They do need to be wary. How do you play the last 20 minutes if you're Newcastle? I think you've got to keep attacking. You can't sit back. Damon says, "Sometimes I laugh about Tottenham for hours." And Mark, if you weren't a football fan, which sport do you think you'd be into instead? Says Damien. Oh, I've got to tell you this. He's in bed now. I don't know whether he'd come and sing it anyway because he really doesn't like one of the words. But Seb wrote this song about Manchester United, and it's a lot longer than this. But it was what was it? It was something like I've got the words wrong here, but it was. No, I've got it completely wrong. But it went something like this: Manchester United are the best when they play everybody else. No, Manchester United are better than the rest when they play. They do their best. Yeah, something like this. Manchester United are better than the rest when they play. They're better than the best. We've got Harry Maguire, Rashford too. If you don't like us, you smell like poo. But the great thing about the song was, it's been written by a 5-year-old, Jack. Jack says that's dreadful. Yeah, it's been written by a 5-year-old, mate. It's not my song. So you're critiquing a 5-year-old here. But the great thing about it was, I said, the problem with this song is you've got Harry Maguire in there. And he says, well, I like Harry Maguire. I like the name. Well, you've got a lot to learn. But I said you could change it. You could go, we've got Bruno, Lissandro, Rashford too. If you don't like us, you smell like poo. And he was like, no. He was very insistent. I want to keep. It's Harry. We've got Harry Maguire, Rashford too. And I was like, this is not going to be popular if I get you to do it on the United stand, because you've got to take Harry Maguire out. You know, you can't big yourself up as a United fan. You know, we're better than the rest if you go, we've got Harry Maguire, Rashford too. But Seb's got British bias, basically. I said put Bruno and Lissandro in, and he was like, no, it's got to be Harry Maguire and Rashford. So I said, it's just because of their passport. Sorry, Mark, boiled new potatoes. Oh, they are the worst. You've won. God, I'd erase that from my vocabulary. Luke has nailed it. Sorry, Mark, boiled new potatoes are the worst potato variety. How my dad prefers them over roasted astounds me. That used to be the biggest disappointment ever. you know, we used to go to my grandparents and they always did boiled potatoes, never did roasted. They're healthier for a reason. Most healthy things taste worse than better things. It's like a vegetarian's fart. It smells a lot better than a meat eater's fart, but I'd rather eat, yeah. I'm not saying I'd rather eat meat. Yeah, boiled potatoes. Ah, God. There's not a lot you can do with them. Some people like season them and stuff, but they're very rarely nice. They're very, very. Yeah, I wouldn't even. I'd forgotten boiled potatoes were a thing. Yeah, imagine if you went round somebody's house and they said, dinner is served, but before you walk into the room, I've got 2 varieties of potatoes that you can choose from. You're probably thinking, oh, is it roasters? Is it dauphinoise? Could even be French fries. It's mashed potato and boiled. Get it out. I don't want any. I think my worst dinner as a kid, because as a young kid, you've got really, unless you're spoiled, you've got no, and maybe it's different now, but I had no say in what we were having for dinner when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had very little say in it. I was never asked, what do you want? It was just what you were going to get, and normally it was what your dad wanted after a hard day's work. So you get things like stew, which I didn't mind. Stew and dumplings I quite liked, but the worst one is Matoma. They're around the edge of the Newcastle box. I'll come back to this in a minute. Goldbridge's worst dinner as a kid. Oh, I can see it now. Just nothing enjoyable about it at all. It's literally just calories. It's just, may as well be eating cardboard. Right, it's back with Pope now. So this was it, the worst one, right? Boiled potatoes, fish, but not breaded or anything like that. It was just white fish. So fish, white fish with the skin on. White fish with the skin on. Boiled potatoes and peas with parsley sauce. It's just like, there's no enjoyment there. There's none. Like when I was a kid, I didn't like vegetables. So when you used to get a roast dinner, you get carrots and peas and sometimes cauliflower. But at least you had like the beef and the gravy and the roast potatoes to counteract the horrible vegetables. But parsley sauce, white fish with the skin on, boiled potatoes and peas. Oh, come on. There's no enjoyment there. And then you'd pray for a pudding that was Angel Delight or something like that. And they'd come out with bloody spotted dick. Which is not what you think it is. I wasn't abused as a child. My pudding was not abuse. It was, and if it is, ring the number. But no, it's like a sponge with raisins in it. Yeah, bloody hell. White fish, boiled potatoes, peas, and parsley sauce. Does parsley sauce even exist anymore? I haven't seen it in about 30 years. We've seen Gary Glitter on the TV more recently than parsley sauce. I don't even know if they make it. Parsley sauce. It was vile. Absolutely vile. It was a regular. We used to have it at school as well. Must be a Nottinghamshire thing, says Johnny. Yeah, maybe it's not anywhere else. I quite like semolina with a bit of jam. British cuisine looks like it hasn't advanced past World War II. No, this was 60 years ago, Sam. I mean, considering everyone thinks I'm about 90. No, this was the 80s. Cuisine in England has moved on a lot. Eating out was fish and chips when I was a kid. Parsley sauce is big in Denmark, says Jens. I think I'd cry even now if somebody gave me that dish. I do like Indian food. Findus crispy pancakes. Yeah, they weren't good. Well, the game is sort of... The fact that we're talking about worst dinners ever, the game has gone off the boil in the last 10 minutes, which is actually not what I expected. I expected the pace and tempo to really go up. Then again, you talk about American cuisine. I mean, you know, they have steak for breakfast, don't they, with maple syrup on it? I mean, I like a steak and I like maple syrup, but I don't want either on my breakfast. Do you remember Cartoonies, Sisti? No. I feel like I should. Right, time for a stretch. I can't believe this game's going to be over in 10 minutes and it's 9:10. Like, we're normally 10 o'clock for a game, aren't we? Mark, thoughts on the Irish band U2? Are you a fan? Damien, you really didn't need to put Irish band in there. Like, you could have just said, what's your thoughts on U2? I think we all know who U2 are. I like U2. Act On Baby. The Fly. Who's going to ride these wild horses? Some cracking songs. You're dangerous. 'Cause you're honest. You don't know what you want. Yeah, la la la. Yeah, I love that song. It was genuine about my son. I'm using my son's account. Says use code. Yeah, okay. Mark, it's better than beans on a toast though. Says sleep tight. I like beans on toast. That's one of my favourite. Beans on toast is one of my favourites. Get a bit of cheese on it. Sometimes put an egg on top. If I'm feeling really posh, beans on toast, bit of cheese on the top, bit of coleslaw, and a packet of crisps on top. Get in. Get in. Come on. I've got a big reveal in a minute. It's not the one you want. We are sponsored by Manscaped. That is not relevant, what I just said. 20% off with Manscaped. Get them delivered to your door. 20% off with the code footy and free delivery. You will not regret it. You're dangerous because you're honest. You're dangerous. You don't know. Please do subscribe, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. We're nearly at... I don't know what we're nearly at. I'll have a look now. Newcastle still pushing for that third goal. That was a bad tackle. He says play on. He's got up though. Here's Isaac. He needs to find another pass. He lays it off. Gomeres over the bar. Over the bar. What's your next watch along? Man United, well, 3 o'clock kickoffs basically. On Saturday, there are some cracking 3 o'clock games on Saturday. We will be live on United Stand because Man United are playing against Bournemouth, but also kicking off at 3 o'clock. You've got Liverpool against Villa. You've got Everton at Wolves. You've got Bournemouth against Man United. So that'll be a good 3 o'clock, but it will be on the United Stand, but we'll be keeping an eye on Liverpool Villa as well. The English suppressed my country for 600 years, and the thing that annoys me the most is still putting cheese on beans on toast. It's criminal, says Matt Hayes, Tottenham blog. Mark could pass... Rizlan, I can't read that out. What year will you take match of the day job? Says Holly Jenkins. Oh, he's blocked me. He ain't going to recommend me, is he? What's your thoughts on Klopp getting banned? Says Sicario. Well, I said it. I did a video 2 weeks ago saying he's going to get banned. So it was always. I'm not surprised. Have you ever watched Still Game? Says LFC. A few people have mentioned this to me. It's the old people, innit? I don't know whether it's any good. As long as it's not like Mrs. Brown's Boys, it's away. Kevin, thank you very much. Chance for Brighton to whip a cross in here. I'm going to go off screen in a minute to do my big reveal. And then I'll be back. I'm going to do it now. My big reveal is I don't need to wear glasses. I can't read anything now. Yeah. Am I off screen? I don't want to be on screen for this. Yeah, I'm off screen. Good. I'll talk to you. A lot of people have been asking for this for a long time. Well, now you're going to get it. Get ready for this. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Here I am. Oh, yeah. Are you ready? It is. So, a few of you got it right. There we go. Back of the net. I'm loving it. I forgot about it. There we go. Have that. Striker. If you want to get one, by the way, I'm going to pin it in the chat because they've literally gone out today, and it's in the video description. People have been asking me to do some of these for a while. We've also got a red one, which is different colouring. There we go. I think there's a black one as well. There we go. I think the blue one's my favourite, especially when I'm doing That's Football. There we go. We do ship them worldwide. It's on the United Stands Shopify page, but it's not really to do with United. It's just it's a Goldbridge saying. My mum is in Still Game. It's peak Scottish humour, says Jack. I've played the game. I've not watched Still Game, but I've played the game. Yeah, it's nice to get a bit of merch for the That's Football. My mate's just messaged me here. We did this the other night. Who's the worst Jack? Jack and Jones, Jack Grealish, or Jack the Ripper? It's a good one. Five minutes to go. Liverpool fans will really be hoping for a Brighton goal. If Newcastle win this, Liverpool can forget finishing above Newcastle because they only need to beat Leicester on Monday and they're unobtainable on 72 points. Can we do a poll on it? Yeah. Somebody said you should have put Jack Mate in there. No, we like Jack Mate. Oh, God. Let me get rid of that one. Can Brighton get back into it? They don't look like they want. Well, they've not really played like they want to. So the poll is there. Who is the worst Jack? Jack and Jones, Jack Grealish, Jack the Ripper. Get your thoughts in. Just did my 5-mile run listening to Goldbridge. United, hashtag top 4 and I can't speak. Well done, Kevin. Good run. Well done. I might tuck these in. Sometimes I like to tuck them in. I think it looks good. we go. It looks better. That does look good to me. I've not actually ironed it yet because it only got delivered today. Ryan's taking it very seriously. He's saying it has to be Jack the Ripper because he killed somebody. Well, was his name Jack? You know, is it unfair for him to be the worst Jack when he might not have been called Jack? He could have been called Carl or Gary. Who's the best Gary Oldman, Gary Neville or Gary Pallister? Says Rob. Gary Oldman is very good, especially in Batman. There's a Brighton player down injured here, and I seriously think they should not be playing on because it looks like quite a bad injury. But the referee... Oh no, he's up again. Who's the most famous Ted? Ted Rogers, Ted Bundy, or Ted Nugent, says Nick P. And do worse Peter, Sutcliffe, Stringfellow, or Rabbit, says Kenneth. Definitely bloody Peter Rabbit. Well, no, it's Sutcliffe because he is a convicted murderer. But Peter Rabbit's definitely the biggest prat. As I've said before, Peter Rabbit's a prat because his dad actually gets killed by Mr. McGregor and put in a pie. And he sits at the window going, I'm eating your dad in a pie with some parsley sauce and mash. You know how Peter Rabbit gets his revenge? Goes back there and nicks his carrots every week. I mean, I would at least shit in his face and claw the twat when he's asleep. But Peter Rabbit's there, poncing around in his bloody jacket, showing off. Look at me nicking your carrots in my jacket, you knobhead. He's ate your dad in a pie. He's literally killed him and put him in a pie and ate him. And you think you're being hard going round in a blue jacket nicking his carrots. You're an idiot. Should have done Jack Jones, the prankster, Mark, says Tyler. And do you think Haaland deserves the Ballon d'Or, says Azor. It's going to go to Messi. But you might be right. Carl Pilkington was not Jack the Ripper. I just said it. The name could have been Carl. Rabbit Pie is pretty good, says Dominic. Callum Wilson's on a one-on-one and he's onside. Steele, you need to close the gap. He scores. Was he onside? If he was, that's the Champions League firmly in grasp of the tune. He looks like he's happy. He looks like he's onside. I think it's over. That's Champions League football. Let's have a look. Almiron. He looks onside to me. He looks onside to me. Unless we've got a bad camera angle, he looks onside to me. Good finish. Long way to run. Liverpool fans look away. 89th minute anyway. Who's the best Tyson, Mike or Fury? Tyson was pretty bloody good, mate. I mean, considering how, he wasn't the tallest in the heavyweight division as well. Yep, it was onside because it's 3-1. Brighton, surprising. Oh, it could be 4. It should be 4. It is 4. What is it about? Arsenal fans must be bloody fuming. The game before they play Arsenal, they get beat 5-1 by Everton. They beat Arsenal comprehensively. Then they go to Newcastle and they lose 4-1. It's Arsenal fans must just be sat there going, why did they turn up against us? Look, Newcastle have been very good tonight. They've deserved to win 4-1. They've been the better side throughout 90 minutes. But Brighton were much better than this on Sunday. They've been dreadful tonight. You've got to give a lot of that credit to Newcastle, of course, and they deserve it over the whole season. But interesting to see if Bruno Guimaraes will stay at Newcastle. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't, but very important that he does. And they look, Newcastle deserve top 4 over the season. I thought their start to the season before the World Cup was incredible. I think that they went through a bit of a grinding patch around sort of January, February. They weren't losing; they were just grinding games. Weren't scoring many, and then April and May they've been back to what they were like at the start of the season. And ultimately, that's going to be Liverpool's problem if they don't get top four. They're going to pay the price of, ending the season amazingly, but 2/3 of it being dreadful. United are Dougie's right. All eyes are on United now for Liverpool, because Newcastle aren't going to be a problem. Super wealth strikes again, says Simon. They ain't leaving. They're Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. They ain't fucking leaving. They won't leave the top four now. That's one thing I will tell you. Newcastle will not be leaving the top four now. Champions League ahead of schedule. Money to spend in the summer. They will not. It's super wealth. That's what it is. Success is super wealth. Whether it's a dirty word or not, or a dirty 2 words, if you ain't got it, you're not going to be successful. They're richer than Man City as well. I'm Roddy Pickering, says Prajit. Yes, it's website's not working. That's weird. Thanks for letting me know. Doesn't normally do that. I'm blue. Da 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 da. Through again. It could be 5. It's Callum Wilson. It's a good save by Steele. I've sent a message to somebody. Sorry about that, Cameron. Just keep checking it. It might just be a temporary thing. It's got to be Grealish. He has an IQ of about 10 and he doesn't even know what a map is. And worst of all, he said he has the best Premier League haircut, says Jack. Jack Grealish, thoughts on Kim, Kane, Rabiot and Kone window marks, says Mario. And it makes you realise how important the United takeover is. If we don't get Qatar, then we'll never compete, says Ben. The worst Jack is Jack Grealish. He's got 47% of the vote, and Jack the Ripper got 33% of the vote. Jack and Jones got 20% of the vote. I like Grealish. I mean, like, as a player, I like Grealish. I think he's quite an entertaining player. I don't think he's got the best hair in the Premier League because basically he's modelled it on Keira Knightley from Bend It Like Beckham. So I don't know how you can say you've got the best hair when you're modelling it on somebody whose career highlights was Pirates of the Caribbean. My hair's a bit long actually. I need it cutting. 8 minutes added on here. 4-1. I thought Brighton would win tonight. So Newcastle beat Leicester on Monday, 72 points. They can't be caught by anybody. It's been an up and down. I mean, look at Brighton. They beat Man United at Brighton, and they act like they've won the cup because they love it. They then play Everton at home, get smashed 5-1. They then go to Arsenal, play superbly well, and then they come to Newcastle and get smashed again. It's been a bit of a yo-yo few weeks for Brighton, and maybe they could miss out on European football altogether. They've still got to play Man City, where you wouldn't expect them to win that. Southampton at the weekend, and then Aston Villa. That Villa game could be massive. Eddie Howe needs to be given credit. I think he's been given lots of credit, literally money as well. There's plenty more to come. Ronaldo to Newcastle. We spoke about that. I love Ronaldo, Man United legend. I don't think it's a good move for Newcastle, really, unless he willingly signed and said, "I'll sit on the bench." I don't see Ronaldo allowing Newcastle to play with the intensity that they do. I mean, their trademark is their ridiculous intensity, especially at St James's. Jack is so crap it's funny. I don't know what's so special about him. He can't shoot. Yes, he can pass, but he's not fast. What does he do well, Mark, says William. Oh, no, I think Grealish has had a really good season for Man City. I said it was a big season because his first season wasn't brilliant. And I think he's had a really good season for them. I actually quite like Grealish as a player. Lovely play by St Maximum. But, you know, similarly, Newcastle tonight, a little bit like Man City last night. They've scored 4. They could have easily scored 8. Enciso. Ferguson. Enciso. It's a good goal. It would have been a good goal if he'd scored. The hell is this doing now? What are you doing? What's this? I think I've clicked something by. I don't know what's happened here. This is my fault. There was something that came up that I didn't know what it was. He said now would be a good time to click this ad, and I clicked it by mistake, and I think it's inserted an ad in a live. I didn't mean to do that. It was a mistake. How long was the advert for? I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That was my fault. It wasn't an ad. It wasn't a virus. Yeah. We won't be doing that again. Sorry. I definitely didn't mean to do that. Talking about ads, don't forget Manscaped. And the website's working again. Hooray! The website, you can get these now. Link in the live chat and in the video description. The website is working. We fixed that. So if you want to get your back of the net hoodies, they're out now. We do ship them worldwide. Links in the chat for that. And don't forget Manscaped, 20% off, free worldwide shipping. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Don't talk to me about boiled potatoes. It's making me feel sick. I'm going to go and record a match reaction. Fantastic result for Newcastle. Thanks everyone for watching tonight, and I'll speak to you all on the next one.